We got 30 minutes, so we'll get this underway. I really wanted to thank everyone for joining us today for Mr. Hardcast Happy Hour. We definitely appreciate you taking the time to spend with us. And just so you know, my name is Frank Forrest. I am a product manager for Carlisle HVAC brands. So the Carlisle HVAC brands consist of Hardcast, Grip Nail, Dyna Air, and Nexus. And as you can see, our group has a number of years of experience in the HVAC market. Hardcast pioneered the duct sealant industry back in 1965. Grip Nail pioneered the insulation fastening industry back in 1966. Nexus pioneered the 4-bolt flange business back in 1977 with a patent that the others in the industry have copied. And Dyna Air has been in the airflow hardware business for over 35 years. You add all that up, and it does combine up to 188 years worth of knowledge and experience. In addition, because we're a division under Carlisle Construction Materials, which is a large multi-billion-dollar company that allows us resources, focus, backing, and opportunities that some of our smaller competitors do not have. But we're going to do a quick walk through the product offering our group brings to the industry. No worries, I'll keep it high level, and then we'll do a little focus on a couple of key topics that I think are really important to know in our business segment. So we're going to start with Grip Nail, and as you know, Grip Nail offers multiple options for insulation fastening. Mechanical bond with the original Grip Nail. I think a lot of times in the industry these days they're referred to as bangers, but they were originally Grip Nail brought into the market by Grip Nail. Also welded fasteners via resistance and capacitor discharge welding, and of course the standard peel and stick and some perforated base insulation fasteners as well. Grip Nail offers a full line of portable welding equipment that are ideal for anywhere from the fabrication shop to on-site welding at the job site. That upper right corner is a backpack style, and then right next to that, of course, is a wheeled unit you would use as well. We also offer a full line of fabrication shop equipment, and that's mechanical for the Grip Nail pins, as well as the welded pins. And the unit you see in the upper right, there's an arm sticking off of that. That actually has a traveling weld head on it, so that allows for pinning on larger ductwork, makes it really simple in the fab shop. You don't have to have you don't have to move the duct system, the sheet metal around. You can actually move the weld head. A pretty nice piece of equipment. And then moving on to, excuse me, this is what you're seeing here in this picture is what is called the power pinner, and it can weld at a rate of 50 feet per minute, hence its model name, the PP50. And this is a piece of equipment that is designed to be placed in line on a full coil line. We're going to move on to the Dyna Air. Dyna Air offers a full line of airflow hardware. In this picture here, you're seeing flexible duct connector. And our flexible duct connectors kind of set the standard for strength and longevity. And for dampers, we have a plethora of options to cover from the smallest residential damper to the largest commercial and industrial dampers. Full offering of end bearings, regulators, and regulator kits as part of the whole damper line assembly there. And a full line of damper parts for multi-blade dampers. Whether you have a small or a large parallel or opposed blade damper, we definitely have the components to make them move together in concert as they should. And our vane and rail gives you the option for hollow vane in a true snap together design, for making single blade vanes, also to making single blade vanes in the workshop. We offer access to our hard handles and leak resistance kit, and there's actually quite a bit more than I'm showing you here. So that's something that you could look on our website to peruse some of those different components. Moving on to Hardcast. Hardcast consists of sealants, adhesives, and coatings. For liquid sealants, we have water-based, reinforced, which means there are fibers in the sealant, and non-reinforced. Reinforced, non-reinforced, I kind of like to think of those as smooth peanut butter and chunky peanut butter. Kind of gives the appropriate visual there. We have solvent-based for jobs that have a short time frame to turn the job around and be able to hand that off to the next trade. And you'll note in the lower left corner, there is a GreenGuard logo, and I will actually come back to that in a couple slides and explain that a little further. And what I'm showing you here when we're talking about liquid sealants is just, I want to make sure that, you know, whatever product you're using a UL listed duct sealant. If you are, then you should know that this litany of tests you see right here, these 7 different tests, were performed on that product by UL, Underwriters Laboratory. It's key for you as it gives you ease of mind that the product you're using meets your needs and does not put you in a bad situation. And I'll kind of get back to that in a little bit. If you see, I have the mold and mildew highlighted because that's a specific topic we're going to come back to. Hardcast also offers adhesives and coatings, everything from water-based in a 1-gallon pail to a 50-gallon drum, and aerosol adhesives from a 12-ounce can up to a number 375 tank. And one thing I always like to share, specifically with end users that are using these products, the aerosol adhesives, is our low VOC untacked product. It is used to clean the guns, the hoses, and the spray tips. It's low VOC, so it is a 50-state compliant product, and we recommend using this after every number 40 cylinder typically. It's real simple, real easy. You disconnect your hose from your tank, connect it up to this tank of low VOC untack, run that through, and it'll keep your hose, your gun, your tip, and all that clean and trouble-free. Back in the 1980s, early 80s, Hardcast pioneered and still is the hands-down leader of rolled mastic sealant in that market. These are true duct sealants that you get, they'll get you in and out fast without waiting for curing, and you'll have minimal labor. You can pressure test the system immediately, so there's no waiting, 24 to 48 hours for the products to cure before testing. And if you think about it, that's a huge savings simply in logistics of having to come back to the job site to test. The rolled sealants can also handle pressures up to 30 inches of water gauge. And in the lower left picture is our line set wrap. This is a TPO roofing membrane that is laminated to our butyl sealant that we use in our rolled sealants. And it gives the ultimate protection to line sets and any refrigeration pipe in your project you're working on. So we're done talking about kind of the overall offering of our products and stuff, but what I wanted to talk about with you today is volatile organic compounds, VOCs, and explain some of the differences because there are actually 2 types of VOCs. There's content, VOC content, and VOC emissions. Content is VOCs in the product in the wet state that are there for the performance of the product. These are watched and controlled due to controlling potential atmospheric pollutants. VOC emissions, on the other hand, are about the long-term emissions of VOCs from the product after it is cured. We need limits there as we're looking at the long-term air quality within the living or working space. And typically when we talk about VOCs, there's a little concern about those. And there's really no need to be frightened of VOC content. I think once you understand it, the VOCs in the wet state, so as the product is in the pail, are there for very good reasons, such as to prevent the product from growing mold in the pail, protecting it from freezing, and a litany of other items. These VOCs are key, but they need to be there, and they need to be enough to protect the product, but you can still be below the LEED compliancy levels. And all of our water-based products are considered very low VOC content products. And note that VOC content, it's what impacts you directly as you are using the product. Be aware of claims of water-based products claiming 0 VOCs. And this is something just kind of informational thing. If it truly had 0 VOCs and it was a water-based liquid product, then it would be a moldy mess when you first open that pail. There are some marketing things, is what I like to call it, that you can do that we will not get into on this call today when it comes to VOCs. But just make sure you do your research and you look over the safety data sheet and ask the question, what's there if there's only minimal information on that data sheet. All right, VOC emissions. Classic example of VOC emissions is the new car smell that we all know and love. And that new car smell are actually chemicals that continue to off-gas. And in a situation with a sealant, it's the chemicals that continue to off-gas after that product is cured. And the picture here shows several different components and the associated chemicals and levels. You see the front seat shows bromine and antimony. The door trim shows lead and the parts per million there. Like I said, we all like the new car smell, and it is simply just those chemicals that are off-gassing. So, we said VOC content directly impacts you as you're using the product and installing a duct system. And VOC emissions directly impacts the building occupant, right, your customer. One way to test for VOC emissions, which would be the off-gassing of chemicals coming off of the product after it's cured, is to do what they call a lead V4 chamber test. Basically what they'll do is they'll take a cured sample of your product, they put it in a chamber, which is the picture you see here on the screen, and then they have a whole instrument panel that they go into, and it's detecting what chemicals are off-gassing off of that and at what rate those chemicals are off-gassing. And once again, just as a reminder, the emissions, that's building occupant focused. The lead V4 chamber test, when that's run, they look for and detect the emissions and the rate of 35 different chemicals. One thing to note, though, this is really what we would call a once and done test. That means I can test a product one time, I get the results back, and I could use that in my marketing literature for just as long as I want, even if I decided to make changes to the product later down the road. And that's kind of important to understand as we talk about the next step, which is Green Guard. Green Guard is another test for emissions affecting the building occupant. And Green Guard Gold certified products, Green Guard Gold being the highest level, they meet stringent chemical emission requirements and have been screened for more than 12,000 volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. So if you're using a Green Guard Gold product, you can rest easy knowing that your building occupant will not be breathing in any harmful fumes because their system is safely sealed for life. The Green Guard program is through UL, Underwriters Laboratory, and it is an annual program. Your products have to be recertified each year. That means there's a definite cost to the program, but also lets you know that with the recertification, you're getting a product that is held to the highest level for VOC emissions. And if a change is made to a product, it has to be resent to UL to be tested and verified that it still meets those requirements. So Green Guard, as we showed you earlier, and you see the logo here on the left side of the screen, just look for that Green Guard Gold certification. All the Hardcast liquid sealants and even a few of our coating products are Green Guard Gold certified, water-based products are. And just a reminder, if you see something that is a water-based, 0 VOC marketed product, just do your research, make sure you really know what you're using. And I'm going to go on back to the litany of tests that we had showed earlier. As you can see, surface burning, tensile strength, peel adhesion, pressure testing, shear adhesion, surface temperature, and mold growth and humidity. These are the Underwriters Laboratory 181 testing criteria. Any HVAC duct sealant must pass all of these tests to be UL listed. You'll note that I have a question in the top left there that say, do all mastics mold? And we'll go on to that next slide. And it's something that I wanted to address with you all today, because that belief in the industry that, you know, all mastics mold is just, you know, that's just the way it is. Well, I just want to let you know that's simply not true. The hard-cast water-based sealants do not grow mold or mildew in the pail, nor will they mold or mildew in the field. It's such an important piece so knowing what you're using and what that potential future impact could be. Interestingly enough, over the last year or so, there have been a few products introduced in the market to what I like to say help mask any mold growth. And it's not a good place, I think, to put yourself in if there are ever issues that arise down the road. The next slide here is just showing some actual visual test results from 2 of our products that were tested so I got this test data from a couple of years ago. And what you can see is you're looking across the screen, 24, 48, 72 hours, and the different bacteria that the product is put in. They lack any mold growth on any of these samples, even after the 72 hours. And one of the key things to understand with this is they essentially take your sample and immerse it in this bacteria field, and they put it in the dark, put it in a high humid state to where that mold really wants to flourish. And I think just visually seeing after 72 hours there's no growth is a really good visual indication of the products will not actually mold, and as I said, the hard-cast products do not. On this slide here, we've done third-party testing. We've had some third-party testing companies do some work for us in the past. We're always checking things here and there. Sample C on this chart is hardcast, and A and B are other competitors in the industry. You'll note that the hardcast product passed across the board. There were no visual mold growth or anything on the product, and where the other 2 competitors were actually starting to show mold growth just even after 24 hours. So a little concerning there, but it's really kind of back to that thing of, you know, really know what you are using, right? My dad always said, if it's worth doing, do it right the first time, you know, and all that you guys do is worth every penny. So just a couple pictures to reinforce the message. You know, if you're on a job site and you see this is a cured product that has been out in the field for some time with some mold growth on it. If you see that on the job site, just know that is definitely not a hardcast product. With internal sealing, I got it showing here. What we have seen is that internal sealing really is becoming more and more of a thing in the industry. And when you're putting sealant on the inside of the duct system and there is a potential for mold growth, that is a really bad situation to put yourself in, put that building in. As a matter of fact, this picture here is from a hospital, and I can definitely think you would all agree with me that I don't think you'd want to have surgery in that particular building or where that ductwork is supplying to. So thanks for listening to me get on my soapbox and kind of lecture on these 2 topics. The VOC content, VOC emissions are something that for me, I think is really important for everyone to understand. Just to reiterate, VOC content, that's for the installer, for the contractor, the person installing that product. And where VOC emissions is really about the building occupant, the homeowner, that kind of thing. And so I think, you know, defining those 2 things and making sure that you're using a low VOC product to protect you, protect you know, any of your people that are doing any of the installation work is very key. But then also being able to use a product that is Green Guard Gold certified, the sense of safety you can give to a building owner, building occupant, a homeowner or whatnot, I think is you know, really beneficial, helps you put yourself at a different level versus your competitors in the market. One of the things I did want to share is some of the continuous improvement things that we do and some of our efforts that we've offered up over time is our program called the HVAC Rewards Program. And so that's our Hardcast Rewards. It's designed for you, the contractor, to be able to reap the benefit of choosing Hardcast products. Your loyalty to Hardcast will earn you gifts, free gifts, gift cards, and even bigger items. The website is above. Just take a minute later, pull this up, look the program over. Pretty simple setup. If you're purchasing Hardcast products, you can load your invoices up there. It'll equate to a certain amount of points, and then you can turn those points in for those kind of items that I just brought up. And then just one last parting thought is I definitely appreciate your time and want to let you get back to your workday as soon as possible. But just showing a list of the different material warranties, and a material warranty lets you know that that product's going to perform properly. And you as a contractor can apply for warranties after you've been approved as an authorized applicator, and that can be accomplished through attending a training session or through other means. And your local manufacturing representative, your local distribution house, or even our regional managers will have more details on that if you'd like to reach out to discuss that further. You just want to make sure you're using a product that the manufacturer stand behind and will support you should an issue ever arise. And with that, I also wanted to give you guys a list of our websites, as well as our phone numbers and our marketing email address. So if there are any questions, any follow-up, we would love to hear from you. We would also love to have any feedback you have on today's training, whether good, positive, negative, or whatnot. Please, we'd love to know. This is our first time really reaching out directly to the contractors via this method, and it's important for us to understand if this has been beneficial for you.